All right, so coming up next, that's a little bit about the rubric. I think it's important for you to really, when you're writing, you should be not only answering the question, but also attacking the rubric. You have to have that in mind. You know, am I writing in a way where I am attacking the rubric? Am I going directly at that 8 mark for grammar? Am I headed directly for that coherence mark? Directly attacking the rubric. A lot of students write their essays on the exam without that in their mind. They don't have that in their mind. They don't know how to attack the rubric. And so you just say, well, I'm just going to write this essay. And you're not really making sure you attack the rubric. All right. When I say attack the rubric, that means you already have it in your mind. When I write this essay, I'm going to write at least 2 or 3 compound sentences. I'm going to write at least 2 complex sentences. I'm going, you already have it in mind how you're going to attack the rubric. So, make sure that you're able to really achieve that. Goris, I'll answer your question later on. Okay, just remind me later on, please. Goris is asking me another question about, can we say, something about police reports show. If you're talking about it from a general context, then that could be okay. If you start talking about things like 35% of people say, 50% of people say, don't just start making stuff up. It's not academic. So in terms of task 2, we have these different question types. You have an opinion essay, you have a discussion essay, a cause or solution. Sometimes it's, it's more than cause or solution. It could be effects, right? It could be effects and solution. It could be problems and solution, right? So it could be cause and solution, effects and solution, problems and solution. Your cause and problem are different. So if the question is asking for problems and solutions, and you write an essay giving causes and solutions, guess what? You just messed up your task achievement score dramatically. You also have an advantage or disadvantage question, and you have positive or negative, and then you have multi-part questions. Now, some question forms are more towards the academic test, and some question forms are more towards the general test. So for example, if a question normally is asking, do you agree or disagree? That's more likely what you're going to see on the general exam. If a question is asking to what extent you agree or disagree, then it's more pointed towards the academic exam. So that's kind of a difference. The discuss both views and give your opinion appears for both equally as much. You have the cause and solution questions, which appear on both equally as much. There is a difference between the advantage and disadvantage for the general and academic. The general exam is more likely going to be about advantages and disadvantages and give your opinion. The academic is going to be more like advantages and disadvantages, or do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? So you see slight differences. Now, those 2 questions, advantage, disadvantage with opinion, or do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? That question is answered the same way, but it's just that you see different language with general than you do with academic. But structuring an essay, forming an essay, the rubric is exactly the same. There is no different rubric for grading the general exam than grading the academic exam. It is the exact same rubric, which is why in the course, you don't see a different section for general task 2 from academic task 2. It's the same. Probably one of the um, more interesting things that students should really spend more time doing is question analysis. Question analysis is the first thing that you do. It's the first thing that you do before you start writing a question or before you even start outlining a question, is make sure you understand the question, right? Do a proper analysis. When we talk about what's involved in a proper analysis, we're talking about recognizing the topic keywords, the other restricting language of the question, the instruction words, and how many parts are there to a question. So if we look at this question over here on the left, right? Nowadays, people live longer after they retire, which is a concern for those it should be for those who manage government budgets. There's a word missing. For those who manage government budgets. How does this affect individuals in society? What can be done about this? Right? Like I said, there's a word missing there between those and government, should be managed. Right? Nowadays, people live longer after they retire, which is a concern for those who manage government budgets. How does this affect individuals in society? What can be done about this? So, you know, if you look at this question, right, what is the topic? What is the topic of the question? All right, can anybody tell me the topic of the question? And yes, Sujoy, to answer your question, rubric deals with the rules and standards of marking the exam, grading the exam. No, government budgets is not the topic of the question. Right, yeah, Pablo. No, it's not retire, it's not taxes. Who's taxes? What's the topic of the question? No. All right, so stop, please. The topic of the question is life duration. All right, duration of life. All right, that is the overall topic of the, no, that's not early, it's not early retirement. Right, the overall topic is, you know, extension of life, life being extended. Right, how long will somebody live? Now, when you look in terms of restricting words, then you get into saying, well, what are the restricting words to the topic of longer life? What restrict, because we're not talking about longer life in general, right? This is the big problem that people make when they write. And you can just see just from this, what we did right now, you know, people have trouble identifying the topic. A lot of people will, well, I'm going to write an essay about longer life, or I'm going to write an essay about governmental budgets or those who manage governmental budgets. Right? The restricting language is retirement and those managing governmental budgets. That's the restricting language, right? Because that's the restricted context that we're talking about longer life. Longer life is the overall big topic related to retirement and those managing governmental budgets is the restricted language, right? And then we have some other restricting language also, right? We have some other restricting language also. Right, live longer is the topic. Restricting language, retire, governmental budgets, individuals is a restricting language. Society is a restricting language. Right, the instruction words are effect and also what can be done, which are solutions. Those are the instruction words. Right, those are the instruction words. But being able to understand question analysis, this is one reason why people don't get 8s and 9s. Right, now the last part of this is how many parts are there to this question? Right, how many parts are there to the question? No, Paloma. Yes, there are 3 parts. There are 3 parts. What are the 3 parts? Yeah, there are 3 parts. Does anybody know the three parts? All right, no. All right, the three parts. One part is how does it affect individuals? Second part is how does it affect society? Third part is what are the solutions? We're not talking about problems. You all are showing me right now why people are messing up their scores, man. Come on. Right? You have to be able to identify the parts. So see, this issue of question analysis, is extremely important. And it's one of the major reasons why people really mess up their scores. Right? Here's another question. Many researchers believe that we can now study the behavior of children to see if they will grow up to be criminals, while others disagree. To what extent do you think crime is determined by genetics? Is it possible to stop children from growing up to be criminals? All right, so what is the overall topic of the question? Singh, I'm going to answer your question. You're asking about restricting language. Please stop asking me the same thing. I see your question. Crime is inborn. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Some of you got it right. Not behavior of children in general, right? And it's the overall topic is related to children's behavior, and crime, right? Children's behavior related to crime, child behavior and crime. That is our overall big topic. Child behavior and crime. We have to know the big topic. After knowing the big topic, then we have to know the restricted language, right? Now, what is the restricted language? Puneet, I don't know what you mean by correlation. Yeah, saying one part of restricted language is genetics, right? Right, genetics and being able to stop it. How do we stop it exactly? Right, genetics and stopping it. So, there's a big difference, right? There's a big difference between, when you talk about somebody being stuck at a 6.5 or stuck at a 7 and you can't go higher to a 7, one of the big reasons why starts at the very beginning of answering a question, doing a proper question analysis. If you mess up the question analysis, you have really, really set yourself back in terms of being able to get that score you want. Because one thing that's most likely a given, very rarely do I see a student that writes, grammatically and lexically perfect under time pressure. So you're most likely going to have the grammar. For most students, their grammar and their lexical are their lowest scores. And so you cannot add to that, I can't understand the question properly, right? That can't be something you add to that. All right, here we are again. Many people think technological devices such as smartphones, tablets, and mobile phones bring more disadvantages than advantages. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Right, to what extent do you agree or disagree? What is the overall topic? Very good. Technological devices. Technological devices, right? Good, we got it. All right. Now, what's the restricted language? Right, yeah, advantages and disadvantages, Puneet. I think that could be the topic also. I mean, somebody could put that as the topic or they can put that as a restricted language, to be honest with you. right? I have it as the topic, but really, to be honest with you, I think it actually I should have had that in yellow. I think that's more of the restricting language, to be honest with you. I think that should be restricting language. Smartphones, tablets, and mobile phones, that's kind of restricting also because it tells you the kind of technological devices we're talking about. We're not talking about medical devices. We're not talking about X-ray machines, right? This is restricting language to tell you the kind of technological devices we're talking about. And the instruction words would fall under to what extent. So there's only one type of question we have to answer here. Right, restricting language, I'm gonna answer this question now. Restricting language is talking about if I give you a topic, I'll try to make it simple. If the topic is the internet, right, that's the general topic. You can have a question, a topic that's asking about the internet. Now, within that question, there's going to be restricted language that tells you what part of the internet you have to write about. So for example, if somebody says the internet has been around for the past 25 or 30 years. Since that time, many people have become addicted to video channels such as YouTube. Do you agree or disagree that there should be some restrictions on channels such as YouTube? Right. So we're not talking about all aspects of the internet. That's the big general topic. That question I just said, it has restricting language in that we're only talking about video channels like YouTube. That's what restricted language means. Restricted language means what restricts what sets the boundaries of the general topic. Now, if you don't write within the boundaries of the restriction, then you are messing up your task achievement score. Yeah, it's a restriction of what you talk about, right? That's what it is. You must stay within the restriction. Most of the time, students are not getting the score they want because they are not doing a proper question analysis.